play here. If they do not get 2 series in a row against this team, they are not going to take this championship, and that is going to be a heartbreaking thing for a team that is looking for a 4-peat.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine the scenes when that happens. Their social media manager is going to be they're very pleased with all the comments they can make to other rogues about that one. That is me, by the way, so I'll be having a lot of fun with that over the next few days, regardless of the result of this series. Um, I think it's fair to say that UWE have been looking the better side recently. They've been getting more practice in, and with the same roster. Most importantly, Loughborough, I think, have been sticking to different rosters for different events. They've been playing 3 over the course of the season, and Bass and Crimson have been swapping around with each other, and of course, different subs coming in for each of them too.
This is going to be an interesting one. I really, again, it's sort of one of these things where I do feel both of these teams come into this one with just about even odds as well. But again, that bracket reset has got to linger in the back of my mind this entire time. I feel like I've seen a bracket reset win happen before, but the rarity of it is beyond comprehension. I cannot emphasize how odd and how rare it is to see a bracket reset work out in favor of the team coming from the lower bracket. But hey, if any team's going to do it, it's going to be the Lions. They're the team to do so. They are the team that can do all of this, that can take down this win, that can really upset this bracket. And again, I don't really say that this is going to be an upset, even if they do win from the lower bracket. I still feel like they kind of come into this one the favorites overall, just because they've got such a legacy behind them at this point. Sigmoid, you can't ever count them out of a series.
Yeah, that's. I think that's definitely true, and I think that is most importantly the case for both these sides. I think it was UW. No, it wasn't UW. It was another team in that bracket. But UWE have taken surprise games in the past, even if they've been down in that series, and they'll just show up and finish the job off. Seb, of course, a very scary player in his own right, former RLCS talent, and I think can't be underestimated heading into game number 1 of this series.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of players to look out for so far here. The crazy thing, though, for Loughborough is that they kind of all are players to look out for. In the last series, we started to see that Stam definitely got better as time went on. Tom really did feel like a standout player for multiple of those matches there. And Crimson is Crimson. She has dominated competition throughout this entire league. And that's kind of the issue when it comes to a team like Loughborough, is that they've got so many lethal players that you need to be very careful. If you let them get into the series and even one of those 3 players start to find some confidence, it can be rather difficult to slow them down, which is something we saw in the last series in a couple of different games where the Lions started to get some momentum and kind of just ran away with it. So right now for the Sea Stags, it's about trying to not allow their opponents too much momentum here. If they can just kind of come out the gates firing and immediately just keep going on full cylinders here, I think that these guys can have a great chance of finishing this out in the first series. But I'm not going to be a betting man here, but I'll leave this one to you to hear some of your thoughts here. Sig, I think we're going to at least a second series here. I think that the bracket does get reset. I don't know if the Lions are going to be able to get it done for what would be a 3rd series in a row.
I mean, they've done it before on competition nights, but to do it against UWE with the roster they have, definitely more awkward, to say the least. Of course, that momentum coming in from the lower final should buoy them at least a decent distance in this first series, which is starting right now.
Indeed, it is. Here we go. It is the Lions versus the Sea Stags. This is the final matchup of this entire league. They have been battling it out for a couple of months here to try and figure out who will be the new champion or summer champion. This would be the 4th in a row for the Lions. It would be a huge win for them here, but a lot easier said than done, as UWE have already beaten them once and are looking to do it again. It is the final matchup of this entire season. I could not be more excited for this one. Let's see what the 2 teams have got. As already UWE pressing the issue here, trying to get an early goal. And again, we've seen this before. Early goal is pretty influential so far here today.
Yes, although nobody seemed to get... Well, okay, never mind. Sebadam has just won that 50, put it past everyone, turned that ball back onto target, and with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock, Sebadam is the one to draw first blood in this series.
This was a surprising turn of events here. We were almost out of the first minute without either team scoring, but hey, UWE gonna put themselves on the board here within just about 50 seconds. The Lions, they've been in this position before, but this is definitely not somewhere they want to be at this point. They'd prefer some momentum in their favor, but no such luck as we get underway with the next 4 minutes of this game. Tom, though, gonna get a little bit of momentum in his favor. Wants to touch off the backboard, but Incog gonna get in the way. Good play so far here out of UWE. They look very prepared for a team that has not played a game so far here today. The fact that their nerves seem as calm as ever is a pretty big surprise to me.
Sure, that being said, Loughborough getting 2 shots in a row there. Incog deftly handling it there, though. I don't think it's particularly challenged, though, to be honest. That ball being put right to the middle of the goal. He was, however, making the right play, so no real complaints. Stam, though, looking to power that one home. Would have been much harder to save, but it's going to be pushed away. Crim, though, tapping it up to Tom. It's dropped down. Crimson able to win the 50, but it's not on target. Theorist of Wind able to deflect that one to the side for Sebadam.
Counterattack, though, from UWE. Looks like it might be an elongated stay at this point. They're just trying to keep this pressure up and wait till they see a crack in their opponents. Stam, though, with a good play here, tries to just keep this one close to give time to his teammates, but uh-oh, Crimson, not the greatest touch there. A little bit of panic, knew that there were defenders on her, so as a result, she just kind of panics and flips this one right into the air where it serves up Seb perfectly. Seb, the star striker here in game 1, and puts his team up by 2.
Yeah, this is the sort of scenario where you don't want to put yourself in. You're playing the ball towards the face of your goal. It's a little dangerous. You don't want to be playing it in front of it because there's still always the risk that someone just goes straight for 50 on your goal and it goes straight over your head. She tries to play it high, and that ends up being even worse because high and central is arguably even worse than low and central. That being said, Loughborough looking like they might have an opportunity here. Crimson to the backboard, blocked away by Sebadam. Incog going to pick this one up though and try and play it away.
No such luck here, though, and I think that might just be the end of the offense here for the Lions. No, I'm going to eat my words. Seb's going to not get in the way of this one. I guess we'll just wait for the follow-up touch. Some really, really panicked defense on the side of UWE, but they will not get punished here. Somehow, some way, the Sea-Stag seemingly holding on here. Seb going to pick up a save out of nowhere, and listen, we knew he would be a good player today. There was no question in our minds that Sebadam was going to be a very prominent player. Definitely been the MVP of match number 1 here. 2 goals and a couple of decent saves here and there. Does bump into Theorist on that play and gets it a little bit of chaos out at midfield. But regardless of that, the Sea Stags have absolutely been relying on Seb to make some phenomenal plays. And as he does it yet again, I've just got to continue saying how impressive this first match has been from Seb.
Oh, definitely. You can always rely on Seb to put on a show, and he's setting up his teammates pretty well as well there. Got the ball through the middle, drove through, tried to take a play. I didn't actually find anyone, but I'm sure shook Loughborough just slightly there. And then, getting back out, nice and cleanly getting back into that rotation. That's why we haven't ended up conceding here. 90 seconds for Loughborough to score 2, and it's nothing unlikely based on how the game's gone so far.
As Incog tries to go for a slam in front of the net, Stam's going to have to make a last-second save. This is the most uncomfortable I've seen the Lions play the entire day. It is kind of crazy how much they are trying desperately to just break out of their half and get some touches, but somehow, some way, everyone on the Sea Stags just seems to beat them to the ball or just have a better touch pretty much every single time. Speaking of which, Incog extremely prepared for this touch that comes out of Crimson, and as Crimson just dives for it, she's got no luck in getting any sort of touch whatsoever. Again, I have got to continue emphasizing how impressive it is that the nerves for this team just seem non-existent. Most teams come into game 1 of a best of 7 like this, and they look a little bit nervous, a little bit shaky. I don't think I've seen that at all for anyone on UWE throughout this entire matchup.
Now, going to send this one careering over Theorist of Wind's head. Theorist of Wind able to block that away, but Crimson helps to drop that back in. Loughborough getting stalled in the corner. Sebadam, though, he's let that ball go over his head. Stam with 12 seconds left to score, and I think if Loughborough have a good kickoff and a bit of a run of luck, could bring this to an overtime.
Unfortunate miss there in the corner there, but Loughborough with 12 seconds left, like you said, there's a chance they could bring this to overtime. Sig, all they got to do is get a perfect kickoff here. It is a lot easier said than done, but it is very possible, and uh-oh, this could be it. Tom puts this one center, but Crimson can't get the touch, and Seb actually, yeah, indeed, will put the coffin, or put the nail in the coffin here. UWE going to take a 3-1 victory here in game number 1, and this is just rubbing salt in the wounds at a certain point.
Yeah, it's not the best of luck, really, is it? 3-1 being scored on just after you've scored. It's literally the worst thing you can do in any sport if you've just given away a point in a stupid way. You don't want to have it, happen the other way. So because it's so much worse for the team which does it second. You've had this opportunity, this golden chance to sort of come back into it, and you've thrown it away by doing the exact same mistake your opposite side did.
Unfortunate for sure for the side of the Lions here, but they're not done by any stretch of the imagination. They lost the first game of their last series and were able to pull it back and take it in 7 games. But again, this is a little bit more. Not only do they need to take the win here in series number 1, but they need to have enough momentum after series number 1 that they can take the win in a second series as well. Not boding well so far here for the Loughborough Lions, but there's plenty of time, like we said. And UWE, I mean, I'm not really sure how you slow this team down, though, to be honest. A lot of the times you see some things on the pitch, and you and I can sort of talk from an outsider perspective of what we're seeing from an overarching view of where these minor adjustments need to go. I don't really think I'm seeing a lot of these for the Lions here. UWE just looks so locked tight that I guess it's just going to have to be something that develops throughout the game. Let's see if the Lions do have a winning strategy here in Game 2 as it is underway. An early goal for them would be big. Like we mentioned, momentum in favor of the Lions really does boost their confidence.
No, I think Loughborough's issue is going to be you can't just target Seb. He's the strongest player on the roster. That is undeniable. But he's not, so far away from the others that just focusing him is going to be a viable strategy.
So far, they've been trying to just kind of contain every single player. Seb going to get a little bit contained here as Wash gets in the way, but no such luck here, as I think this should still be a counterattack. Indeed, it will be. The Lions, a little bit of panic here. Tom does get in the way, and I think should now allow for an attack out of the Lions instead. But back and forth here again. We haven't seen this a lot today. Not a lot of this ping-pong action of where they're just kind of smacking it as aggressively as they can back and forth across the pitch. But if that does develop at any point, I would not be too surprised. The question is who's going to take advantage once that scenario does arrive. So far, neither team taking advantage, and we're a minute in here. No one with a real shot on target. A couple registered for the Lions, but most of them cut off early. This one not cut off at all. Theorist going to get in the way, just kind of slams this one towards the center. Crimson and Tom with a quick counterattack, and once again, the Lions doing a good job of just withstanding this pressure. The big concerns we had last time were when they were making minor mistakes that got punished. This time, though, C-Stacks, no such luck in finding one of those mistakes and punishing early.
I'm getting that chain dash there, almost getting enough speed to push that ball a little further through, but I think Loughborough being afforded an opportunity here. Looked like a 1v3, but Incog just acting like a brick wall. Could have been 3 players there, but yeah, Incog getting that huge block. Loughborough, though, not done yet. Tom going to stop that ball. Stam picking it back up again, looking to beat out Incog. Gets one slow touch, gets a second. Can he slip it past Severdam? No, he can't. The RLCS pro stepping up and stepping in to that ball so it doesn't trickle into the back of his net.
Listen, I know you said they can't just target Seb at a certain point, but they might need to at a certain point. That man has been all over the pitch here today, Zig, and it's been really difficult for this team to contain him. Had he gotten that redirect, I think at that point, that's just a little bit of a, okay, now we understand what's going on the pitch here. That would have been an exclamation point on the field, but no such luck here. UWE, try as they might, will not find their first goal. Can they get it off of this play, though? Stam going to try and play this one off the ceiling. Just passes it out to Crimson, but Incog on the way back, very prepared. Oh my word. Maybe not as prepared as we might have thought. Crimson with the final shot, but no such luck. UWE in the most awkward positions, but somehow, some way, Sig, they walk away unscathed.
Yeah, and I think that's partly down to Loughborough maybe not expecting everyone on that UWE side to miss so many balls in a row. It is a little disorientating when I'm in ranked myself if a player comes in and misses a ton of balls in a row. This, oh no, Crimson, that's a long way high. Stam is going to finish off the job. I thought Loughborough had absolutely bottled the best opportunity we've seen so far this game by Crimson putting it high. but it did end up being one of the correct choices in the end, even if the final shot went straight to the middle.
Seb can't make a save on all of them, tries to save the first one, but no one there to back him up after that first one. And again, this was an issue you and I had talked about earlier today. If you can make a save, that's one thing, but you need someone on your team to follow it up, oh my word, and get a good counterattack. Speaking of which, this could be the one. Incog and Seb kind of pinched this one on target, oh my word. That probably would have been the best shot we've seen all game. This is insane, the redirects that teams are going for right now. Although it does not work, Seb is starting to pop off. He's going for some pretty intricate shots, and if one of these works out, it's going to be a just jaw-dropper.
Oh, definitely. Tom, though, he's coming back in, played over the top of him by Therius to win, cutting it off in the wrong direction, but it ends up being a brilliant play because both his teammates were there waiting for a ball just like that. Crimson, though, oh no, we've seen this one before, playing it towards the base of her net, is going to get it away, though, with the help of her teammates. You never want to put yourself in a position where you have to play the ball across your net with the opposition bearing down, and you may be looking for a 50 to finish it off. Stam going to try and slam that one home, try to relieve Love for slightly with 50 seconds left, but going to have to hold on a little longer.
Close shot from Crimson there. Almost able to put that one on target, and same with the follow-up shot. Crimson with a little bit of difficulty so far here. She's taken 3 shots, and none of them have been on target. If she can just find one into the back of the net, it would be huge, not only for the team, but for the confidence of a player who has struggled with an accuracy here. 30 seconds left, though, and first thing they're going to have to struggle with is trying to hold on to this lead here. You know that UWE want themselves a tying goal to keep this game alive. Not if Seb own goals. All right, well, the star-studded player does have a little bit of vulnerability as he kind of seals the deal here for the win for the Lions.
Yeah, I think Stam really keeping that glue to the backboard, and with that flip he gained, I think falling off the wall, maybe he jumped and then flipped into it very quickly, was able to throw everyone off, and Seb, I think the victim of both his teammates missing and him being at the wrong place at the wrong time. 2-0 now, 10 seconds, it's possible. We joked about it twice this evening, but I think it might be a bit bold to say that anything's going to come from it now. Timer expiring, and Loughborough have taken game number 1. Two. Game number 2, in fact, has tied the series at 1-1.
Indeed it has, which means we play a best of 5 from here on out, but I do need to reiterate one more time, as good as Loughborough played here in this second matchup, and as they are starting to get a little bit more confident, they need this confidence to just continue for them the rest of the day. They win this series, they've got another series they have to win against UWE Sea Stags if they want a chance. This is not an easy battle by any stretch of the imaginations, but the good thing is that the Lions have given themselves enough confidence and have given themselves enough momentum that they might be able to take this first series. Still does feel like the Sea Stags are very much into this. It did look a little bit chaotic on the pitch there, but Sig, we've said this before. In a game like this where you have so many games in a best of 7, there's plenty of time for UWE to make the adjustments and get themselves right back into the series.
And just like in that first series, they took the first game. We know they're capable of forcing Loughborough into difficult situations, some awkward places. That being said, 6 seconds since the kickoff, and Loughborough have already scored. UWE perhaps not in the best spot right now.
A little bit of a risky challenge there. Not exactly sure what was going through the mind of Incog on that one. Just kind of whips it right on past, and no such luck at a touch. And that is not what we were really expecting to start this one off. I'll be honest. I'm a little bit confused at what we just saw there, as we really did expect a tense back and forth. But now all of a sudden, UWE getting their own approach. Stam going to play this one very slowly, and the defense starting to look awkward for both teams here. Sig, I'm not quite sure what's going on the pitch right now.
Yeah, it's you do get some periods sometimes, even at the highest level, where you just have no idea what they're doing. Maybe a bit of a communal brain fart as they're playing around the field. That being said, it seems like everyone has recovered, and this ball is being moved around a bit. Krim dropping this one down for Stam. Can't win for 50. That ball actually bouncing up dangerously in the direction of Loughborough's net. Ultimately ended with that shot by Incog, blocked away by Tom, only just though. I think UWE still with a solid chance in this game.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job of just keeping the pressure up here. If they can find one good goal, it'll be huge for the confidence of this team, but no such luck, and as they get locked back into their own half again, this could be an issue. The Lions starting their overwhelming offense, and a double commitment here is going to leave Incog by themselves. Bold plays coming here out of UWE. Right now, the Sea Stags are kind of just throwing all their chips on the table and hoping it works out. And when it doesn't, they are left in very vulnerable position. Speaking of vulnerable, Crimson diving back to save her teammates there as both Tom and Stam dove for that one and left the team in a very awkward position. And, well, speaking of awkward positions, Theorist in a 1v1, 1v2 just needs to get around Crimson but can't quite do so. The Sea Stags throwing everything they've got at their opponents here, but still, Sig, they just can't find the... Never mind, they found the back of the net. I will not say that, as I'm going to caster curse this one, and 1-1 it becomes.
I'm genuinely Oh, well, that was a pretty solid bump from Theorist to win. It has to be said in the bottom left of my screen. Just taking Tom well out of the play was the only player I think capable of saving it, and that is the space that UWE need. And it's as tight as it can possibly get. 1-1 apiece in terms of games, 1-1 apiece in terms of goals, and a lot of time left in this game for more excitement, it has to be said.
Well, speaking of excitement, here's a chance now. UWE with a really good kickoff going in their favor, but they're going to let all of that momentum go away, and here comes Crimson to start the counterattack. A really, really huge opportunity for everyone off of UWE, but they played a little bit haphazardly, and speaking of which, another haphazard as two of them dive for it, and no one makes a touch. Seb out at midfield will at least delay the counterattack, but I'm not sure what's going on with the Sea Stags right now, Sig. Before this, we were talking about how Essex needed to be more creative in their plays because they were too standard. I think the opposite applies here for the UWE Sea Stags. If they do not start playing with a little bit more control of the pitch and stop playing as recklessly, they're just going to keep giving away possessions to their opponents.
Thing is, though, you can give possession away a significant number of times so long as your defense is solid, and so far UWE's has been. We saw last game, admittedly, they didn't have quite such a good time. But besides that, they've been looking relatively solid. Stam now playing this ball through, and Theorist to win just there to catch it and play it away.
This one's going back to the center. Crimson with a really weird touch off the backboard there. And the Lions, again, continuing to play with some good offensive pressure and some really good midfield presence as well. Stam gets in the way there and does not allow UWE to break out of their own half. And so far, this has been a very difficult game for the University of West England to find any sort of momentum in their favor here. They've tried as they may to get some good shots and some good offense together. But like you said, their defense has by far been the highlight as Theorist makes yet another beautiful save. When does this finally crack here? Because it feels as if Loughborough are just shooting shot after shot after shot, getting offense after offense, and still UWE just look unfazed by it.
I mean, I do think we need to see a high-level play correctly executed on. We saw just a brilliant passing play being set up, Stam almost putting that one into his own net, but Crimson put the ball wide last time. If she puts that ball onto target, that forces a touch shot, forces significant movement from the UWE defenders. And then that's what opens up the real opportunities, the tap-ins, which Loughborough are going to score maybe, 70-80% of the time.
Oh, here's a good chance for someone to score here. And like you said, if Loughborough are at 70-80% on shooting here, that means that UWE have got to try and figure out a way to make this offense worse. They have worked on this offense for so incredibly long with so much pressure, but still haven't found a great shot to show for it. And I don't think that they're going to. Instead, it's going to be a counterattack where Stam's got a 1v1 versus Seb, but can't get past. Tom out at midfield will at least continue the offense here. But again, the defense by far been the highlight here for UWE. The Sea Stags doing a great job at just not allowing easy shots on target. And, well, they're not going to find an easy shot on target on the other end either. Their offense has got to try and get one more attack together as we are down to 20 seconds left here in this game. Only enough time for one more good attack on both sides, and this could be the one! Incog with the weirdest touch I've ever seen. How did he dead stop the ball like that? It's going to work out as the Sea Stags will get a counterattack, and if they finish this here and now, it's going to be one of the weirdest ends to a game yet. But Sig, despite the confusion on the pitch, we will go to overtime. I thought that was going to be the end there. That was the weirdest end of a game I've ever seen.
Yeah, just be right back while I'm not my brow. That was... That was spectacular, I think, for all the wrong reasons, and so many plays just coming through, which, are almost inexplicable. Tom going to get this ball away. It's looking slightly dangerous. He'd actually won the 50 against Seb. I think UWE with a slight disadvantage right now as Crimson plays it past one. Theorist to win, bumped out of the way, but Crimson can't keep the ball low enough. She's dropped it down now. Who's there? Tom's there. He's put it top right, and that is it. Loughborough once again take control of the series.
Oh my word, I thought Crimson had once again unfortunately missed and had squandered an opportunity, but a great 50-50 in front of the net. Recovery from her fantastic there and picks up an assist as a result. Lockborough going to put themselves up another game here. This has been a really interesting back and forth between the two teams. It does feel like the UWE are starting to find some momentum on offense, but again, we have to harp upon the stats here this game. 8 shots to Lockborough. They go 2 for 8 and overall at 25%, but 1 for 3 for UWE. They have better efficiency, but they're just not getting the opportunities. 3 shots in this long of a game that goes to overtime is just not enough.
I have to agree with you there. Yeah, I think maybe Seb hasn't been able to turn himself towards the ball in quite the same way he was able to in game 1. And I think that's what's set UWE a little behind. Maybe Loughborough have been able to adapt a little to UWE style, and that's what's forced them onto defense more. And yes, the defense is solid, but they need to be working more together the pitch, like you said, to get those potential shots.
The big thing is about making sure that they can have some really efficient transitions that lean into, oh my word, a good offense here, as Seb does get a decent shot on target, but no such luck in finding the back of the net. I think that would also probably be big. We've mentioned momentum a couple of times here today so far, Sig, but the main thing has been that I don't think UWE has walked away with an early goal here and really started to show that momentum. It feels like they're always kind of playing from this stalemate position of where it's still a 50-50 coin toss to either side.
Definitely. 30 seconds gone, though, without a goal. It seems this game will not be quite as wild as the last for now. This ball, though, being carried over the top. I think Crimson... Oh, she is going to get a flip reset. I didn't anticipate it. I kind of forgot she came off the ceiling and did almost beat a player there, but Hilarious to win had it read, and now it's Loughborough in a different situation. Crimson, I'm not surprised she reacted like that. That a goal line stop was just incredible.
How do you save that? How on earth do you get ready for that type of shot and then save it and then turn it into a counterattack where the team takes a goal? Lockborough Lions, you guys continue to dazzle here today. I said Crimson was a highlight player earlier, but as she picks up both an assist and a save in that play, she is dazzled every single time she hits the pitch.
Hey, there's a reason they're about to win. Well, I say they're about to win it. Assuming they win both this and the next series, they will be winning their 4th domestic title of the year of a possible 6. Which is, you know, I think unrivaled. That being said, Sabadam diving straight back in. I may be speaking a little too soon because Tom bailing out of that one may well have cost his team.
Listen, at a certain point, yeah, Crimson even throwing up a nice one in chat. Gotta respect it. A good shot for a good, from a good save from the previous one. Everybody starting to peak here, and like you said, we're not gonna get ahead of ourselves. Although Lockborough look phenomenal right now, Seb and the rest of UWE are determined to not even let this go to a second series. They are only down by 1 game right now. Oh, but they might be down by a goal as well. No, Incog gonna make a phenomenal save in front of the net and not allow the lead to go back in favor of Lockborough. Said actually it's going to be an attack for UWE here. Can they do anything? They can get a demo at minimum. I'm not sure how beneficial that's going to be, but hey, you know, demo plays and physicality are not, or have not been as prevalent in this game, so maybe that starts to turn the tide a little bit more.
Well, the tide seems to be pretty stale right now. Not able to get the ball moving much in either direction of these teams right now. Incog, though, got an opportunity. I think he was looking to shoot at the net there, but he dropped it a little low. He wasn't able to get a pull-up. So that being said, he's fielded this one through. Crimson not getting up fast enough. That quick turn, a determining factor of how good a player you are. And yeah, he gets that second touch. He spins his car around with a bit of power slide, gets it onto that near post, and even Crimson, one of the best players on this pitch, gets surprised wildly by it.
I think that's the second time we've seen Incog do something similar like that today. It's been one of these things where a couple of times it feels like the Lions think they have more time than they really do, and as a result, someone just kind of whips it past them and takes a quick shot that they are not expecting. So Lions here, unfortunately, getting caught off guard by a bit speedier of a team than themselves. And speaking of speed, once again, the counterattack starting to launch here for UWE. They're trying to blaze past everybody on defense, but no such luck. A 3-1 lead in favor of UWE would be massive for this team, not only because it'll probably secure them the game, but the confidence that will flow through this team as they have struggled to play over aggressively and have played a little bit hesitantly to start this game. It would be massive for them to change the tide here, to give themselves some confidence, to give themselves a chance to just feel like they could win this one, because as you said, it looked very convincingly in favor of Loughborough after the last match.
Ferris now. lobbing this one over the top. It's off the corner, and he gets a demo as well. That would normally be an awkward spot for Loughborough, but Crimson just able to carry that one calmly forward. I do think, though, this is like the third time I've commented on this for spotting it. She's probably done it more. There's a time and a place for taking a dribble, and that probably wasn't one of them. She dragged it over the top of the car, right into a 50, and that left her team and the ball in an awkward spot.
Yeah, a little bit of awkwardness in terms of some of the plays that we're seeing here. I feel like there's a little bit of a mix of the fact that the teams are a little bit nervous, and some of them are also just kind of trying to play this game in their own way. Like you said, dribbles are something people love to do because it does give you a great control over the ball and does give you a good chance, but unfortunately, a dribble's not always going to be the best decision, especially in a game like this where it is so back and forth and so aggressive on both sides. That being said, a little bit of intricacy here on this play will pay off. Not booming this one at all. A very soft pass here out of Stam is going to be perfect for Tom and rips this on target to even out the game.
I think that was a little ambitious for Incog there, but there was no way he needed to pre-jump that. And then but Stebadam, who's coming at the side, he's doing everything he can to get to it, and it does just sneak by him. I was confused for a period as to how that ball had gone in, but Loughborough have tied it up off Incog's misplay, which is a shame because he's been having such a solid series so far. I mean, that's another confusing touch. Like, how has Tom only barely got a touch to that? You'd have thought, you know, there would have been a ton of power on that, would have been heading towards a goal, and instead it just sort of trickles behind him.
A little bit of awkwardness starting to be shown for both teams here, but again, that's not too surprising when you know how much is on the line here. Reiterating one more time for everybody at home who might have missed this, for Loughborough, this would be their 4th championship in a row if they end up winning this one. They don't actually just win this one and all of a sudden they get the championship. They do need to bracket reset in order to get there, and for UWE, this is a chance at, I guess, not really redemption, but just sort of proving their point. They've already beaten Loughborough in this tournament before, sent them down the lower bracket, which forces them into that bracket reset scenario, but they want to do it again. They don't want to just show that it is a one-and-done type of game, and when Incog can keep making saves like that, I can understand why. Again, UWE has dazzled on defense so far here. The question is whether or not they can start to figure out a solid offense. Oh my word, they also need to make sure they don't get that close. They cannot allow shots like that. Sig, I think both you and I can agree, that looked like the end of the game if there had been even a second longer on the clock.
There was a whole, I think, 10 seconds worth of opportunities Loughborough had. There was that passing play which Stam stuck towards the very middle of the net, which was saved away quite easily. We had that, the ball bouncing around, Tom able to get it to the corner, it bounced. I think Krim was the one to field the ball towards goal, and it didn't quite go in either. I think these teams, Loughborough especially, just need to be focusing on that clinicality, because a bit more focus could mean the difference between the series going to Game 7 and them closing it out as soon as they possibly can.
And sometimes that's the difference between the two teams. It's just the littlest differences in their touches, the littlest difference in their executions. And right now, that could be the difference. Crimson does not touch that ball. Luckily enough, Stam was behind her to recover. I thought that had just been a whiff, which was going to leave the team vulnerable, but I think some more coordination going on that we couldn't quite see behind the scenes here. And as we approach a minute into this overtime, it's looking like it'll be over already. I thought we might see a bit of a stalemate back and forth, but I'm not exactly sure. Not the greatest touch out of Crimson, but Tom just a bit overextended out of net and did not put himself in the right position to make the save.
I think it's the theme of the night, though. Tom, yes, he was off his line, but Crimson, once again, playing the ball into no man's land, and then UWE punishing very quickly for it. Needs to take some time to really work out if that's the touch she wants to be taking. She's very skilled mechanically, but has to know the right time to use it and also has to execute correctly. I think if she got that ball glued a little closer to the wall, she would have had a better opportunity.
And unfortunately, this has kind of been, like you said, the issue for Loughborough just as a whole, not just Crimson. It's that they play so well. They do a really good job of keeping the stalemate back and forth, but they'll make minor touches that just kind of leave themselves vulnerable and then get a bit surprised when the other team takes advantage. They saw this against Essex. They're seeing this against UWE right now, and I 100% agree with you. If they continue to play like this, where they just every once in a while have a little bit haphazard and a sloppy touch, they're most likely not going to win this series. And as we're now evened out at 2 apiece, my question really does become whether or not Loughborough are going to start to recognize these issues, because this is the second series in a row where these sloppy touches have become their downfall and have lost them games.
I mean, if the last series is anything to go by, there's a decent chance they'll take this game, lose the next one, and then take the game 7. But Now, we can't really expect the series to go exactly the same, can we? Crimson though, looking to drop this ball nice and low. There's the wins. Read that one well to get it away. He's going to continue to play this down the field now. Getting it past one. Can he get it past the second? No, but he can steal some boost, and that could be what makes Loughborough feel particularly awkward.
They are in a very awkward position here as they're trying their best to just get this one out of their half, but I actually think that they're not only going to get it out of their half, they're going to get somewhat of an opportunity. Awkward play arrives on both halves of the pitch, and Seb, I think, is going to find a goal because of it. No! Crimson gets in the way. Some good on-the-line defense, and now here comes everybody off the Lions to try and get the counterattack. No such luck, but a bit of a chaotic back and forth here to start this game, Sig. Are you telling me that Incog just got bumped into the save by Tom? I don't know what I just witnessed, and I don't think I'll ever be able to process what I just witnessed. This is quite the chaotic start.
I don't think Incog needs to get that touch. I think his teammate could have got it, but he was bumped into a position where getting a save was easier than his teammate spending a ton of boost to get up in the air. That being said, Incog, I think he came in through the near post there. Doesn't want to be doing that too often. Would end up making a play very similar to some of the ones we've seen come out from Crim, where he plays the ball across the face of his goal. Tom now teeing this one up, drops that down Crimson. Back to Tom, maybe no. There is to win, cutting that play out at the midfield. Stam though, able to grab that one in his back corner, played it long. Tom now able to cut this back inside. Sebadam knowing to cut that one off early, knows Crimson can be deadly in that spot, and Incog playing this away. Both teams, it seems, holding themselves to a stalemate with 2 minutes gone in this game.
Yeah, stalemate for sure. Neither team really giving even an inch here. We're just about even on stat line as well. The only difference being, well, no difference being between the two teams now, or a lot of difference, I guess, being between the two teams. It was 2 shots apiece to 1 save apiece, or I guess 2 saves in favor of Loughborough, the one difference. Now they've got 3 saves at this point, and Loughborough are starting to feel the pressure of their opponents as it's more and more offense coming from this UWE side. And, oh, they're going to have to hold on for at least a second longer. Theorist has a shot, and it'll find the back of the net. I think that this was a little bit of interference. Yes, the save probably could have been made here out of Crimson, but as Incog comes in for a little bit of a demo, she's got to not only try to save the ball, but also miss the player on the back end. No such luck, and 1-0 in favor of UWE. That is a huge goal for them, Sig.
I'll be honest, I didn't even see Theories to win come in. That is like a 300 IQ play to know that she's, split between 2 decisions there. I think maybe there was a chance where it was a 400 IQ comeback, which was just to flip into the demo, maybe bump Theories to win back into the ball for the save, but chances of that happening were pretty slim.
Good stuff so far here out of UWE to really just use all the assets they can for that offense. Like you said, it was a very slim chance that maybe there could have been a save, but slim was not enough. They needed a little bit better of a defense in order to hold on against this UWE team, and they're going to need a little bit stronger of a defense this time as well. Incog going to slot this one in from the side, and it seems like this is just the beginning here for UWE. Their offense is flowing, and somehow, someway, the Lions are going to need to try and slow this down.
Well, I think they have to sort of calm themselves first. It's very easy to get overwhelmed when you're in this sort of scenario, almost conceding a third there. Fortunately, it was Crimson on the back line, earning her Saviour medal and forcing that ball away. Stab trying to get behind this, but Sebadam playing it away. I think this Loughborough team struggling to get to these touches right now, maybe being forced out of boost, but now it is UWE who are low on boost. Sebadam coming out of net, only 30 boost to his name right now. Incog running pretty low himself, gets that ball long, isn't going to be able to do anything with it. It's going to steal the back corner though, so UWE with a chance. Theorist to win now, off the corner, into the middle. Incog's there, he deflects it down, it's past Tom, and it's into the top corner. 3-0 now for this UWE side.
This is disgusting. I think he uses, the back wheel of the car, back right wheel of the car to just barely redirect that one into the top right. And it really does seem like UWE have found their confidence. It took a couple of games. It took them quite some time to really feel like they had some flow amongst the 3 players. The rotations are on point, the passes are on point, and the plays are just phenomenal. If you can hit angles like that, you can pretty much nail a shot from anywhere on the pitch, and that is the concerning part now for Loughborough, is that they have to lock down this team and not allow them shots, because at this point, UWE, we had been critical previously of them just not getting enough shots. Now that they have 10 shots, they have 4 goals. So once you do let them get their offense together, it's kind of a mistake. You can't really let them do even that.
Yeah, I think we do have to look at this and be very scared of what UWB could do going forward. Loughborough seem to have lost their grip on this series. We saw they came back after a very testing Game 6 in the last series, but down match point is a scenario we haven't seen them in for a little while now. Crimson, though, looking to recuperate nice and quickly, get full. I think over the top of Incognito, it was a weak touch backwards, but he was able to catch that 1-1 that reached his backboard.
Now with only about 30 seconds left at this point, it kind of just feels like delaying the inevitable here, Sig. UWE are going to go on to match point. They're going to have a chance to close out this series altogether, because once again, the Lions, even if they do manage to take this series, they have to take a second series afterwards. Coming from the loser's bracket, they need 2 series in a row. And in a best of 7, not only is that going to be difficult purely because you're playing against a good team, but mental fatigue really does set in at a certain point here. For Loughborough, that would be their 3rd series in a row here today. The first one went all the way to that 7th game in a best of 7. So it's been a long day for this Lions team, and it's only going to get longer as they are 1 match away from losing this entire tournament. And they don't want to do that by any stretch of the imagination. University of West England have done a great job here at making the necessary adjustments and just pulling momentum in their favor. I'm interested to hear your thoughts at this point, Sig. Do you think that this is going to go to a second series, or do you think that this is going to be the end here? Are UWE making match point? Does that secure them this entire tournament?
I mean, it's going to be a nail-bait in Game 6 for sure. It's really, really hard to make a decision on this, actually, because I so want Loughborough to force that 3rd series. But do I think they can do it after an 0-4 defeat? I'm not all that sure. I'm honestly quite scared it's all over. Because UWE, like we've been saying, have been so dominant.
They've been beyond dominant at this point. It's one of these things where it was like we were waiting for that little bit of a click where all of a sudden they were just able to do what we had seen them try, and that was this game. They stopped missing shots. They stopped wasting opportunities. They just pounced. And again, this is the biggest thing. This is the biggest change here in this game so far, is the fact that UWE are looking confident. We said this to start this game, that they looked like they needed a little bit more confidence in their offense, a little bit more momentum in their favor. And now that they have found it, I wonder what this Game 6 is going to look like. I think that, in my opinion, this is going to be the end of the series right here, right now. I think that this is going to be the final matchup we see here. But the Lions, I am happy if you guys prove me wrong. I would love to see this go to a second series. I'd love to see you guys continue to fight for your 4th championship in a row, but that's a lot easier said than done. The Lions are going to have to get it done here in game number 6. If they don't win this one, that is the end of this tournament overall, and they are determined to not let that happen. Crimson with an early goal.
I had to bite my lip there. That was coming out off the corner post there, but Incog, he tried to save it the first time around, put his car in the wrong place at the wrong time, and so Loughborough take the lead early, and I think historically they've looked very strong from this position.
They look very strong, and that's the biggest thing for them, is giving them some confidence, not allowing the momentum of the last game to factor here in game number 6, and they're not allowing it so far here, 15 seconds in, and they are pressing the issue. Tom wants a shot that isn't really a shot, goes off target, and I mean, listen, great stuff so far here, but Loughborough, this has also been an issue for them. Their inaccuracy has left them vulnerable on a multitude of opportunities here today.
Well,
I'll go in the other way, though.
Those opportunities. Yeah, well, Sam's come the other way there. Sebadam not winning out that 50, though. Stam can't get up, though. Tom can't get up. It's on to Crimson. That one's being forced around. Loughborough, I think, being caught off guard a bit. They have the lead. They have to keep their composure if they want to take this to Game 7.
They need to be careful on the backboard there. Another opportunity for where Crimson might have put in a weak touch and would have left it in the center. This has unfortunately been a trend here for the Lions today, have been them putting passes out to the center and just leaving the team vulnerable. But speaking of passes out to the center, Crimson going to take full advantage of this one. The demo in the corner, well, I guess it wasn't really the demo that left that vulnerable. It was more the bump initially from the 2 teammates. So UWE not really helping themselves out early here in game number 6.
I think we do have to credit Loughborough slightly, though. They did manage to execute on the outplay, something they were struggling a little with in games 4 and 5, and it's nice to see them back and maybe starting to contest the end of the series, or perhaps even take it. They're not so far behind to rule that out.
Not quite yet here. There is plenty of time in this game. 3:40 left, but uh-oh, a third? No, not a third goal going to go in favor of the Lions there. Seb going to make a phenomenal save on the line and not allow that goal to come through here. 90 seconds in, though, and continual pressure out of the Lions is making this difficult for UWE to find any momentum in their favor, especially when Stam is going to play like that. That is just disgusting. Recognizes the time and space and slams this one home.
Yeah, that's just another ridiculous 1v1 outplay. We were discussing them before, and it has just slipped straight in. It is. I mean, I can't really comment on it enough. He's just so strong in those moments where he has the ball. Maybe not quite the case to go the other way, but you've got to imagine if he was able to keep the ball the whole time in a 1v1, he'd be one of the top ones players in the university scene.
If it was always a 1v1, but not quite able to do so. Luckily enough, though, the Lions, even if it isn't a 1v1, in this 3v3 scenario, they have found themselves up 3-0 with only about 2 minutes gone. This is a pretty convincing win if they continue it at this scoreline, but again, this is not a definite win quite yet. UWE are still going to try and fight throughout this game to get themselves back in here. The good thing is for the University of West England at this point, even if they do lose this game, they still have another game to keep going, and even if, oh my word, even if the Lions end up winning the series, they've got another series to try and recover, which, I mean, it's looking somewhat likely. The Lions, I don't know what happened in between games there, but all of a sudden, they look so much stronger than they did in the last series. Just overall, much better performance.
Definitely. It seems they've found their touch again, able to get the ball placed where they need it to be. We're going to see Sebadam dropping like right into the path of Tom. It's not the best activities. His teammates aren't able to capitalize. There's the window taking off on a missed touch from Stam. Crimson having to deal with this one. Incog posting it back in. Tom with a miss. Sebadam is up, but Tom going to tip this one over to the side to buy Loughborough just that little bit more time.
Well, this shot, though, going to be awkward for Stam. He does get a nice touch, but unfortunately, that's going to be all that it is, or at least I thought. No, Stam, again, this 1v1 prowess, he really has corrected me a multitude of times today to where I think that there is no opportunity, but somehow, some way, this 1v1 master sets up the opportunities for the rest of the team here. The Lions doing a good job here in game number 6 of just shutting down opportunities for everybody on UWE. And that's kind of been the biggest issue. We mentioned this before. When UWE get the opportunity to take a plethora of shots, they're phenomenal. When they don't get the opportunity to take shots, they struggle thoroughly.
Well, I think they're about to be presented with one here. The ball lingering in the blue half. Theorist to win now. Going over top, he spots out Incog. He plays the ball to the right and it's cut off by Crimson. They're not being presented the shots because Loughborough are simply too fast. Theorist to win, having to play the offense backward to keep it away from Loughborough there.
Yeah, so far, everything has been cut off. Like you said, just the speed out of this Lions team has made it very difficult for the C-Stacks to stay in this game. And, they might just give up a late goal because of it. 45 seconds left here, and if Loughborough is able to get another one, the confidence would be huge for this team. Incog, with a phenomenal save on the line, is not going to allow that to happen. But, at minimum, we're going to Game 7 here. Sigmoid, this is what we were hoping for. Series 1 of a potential 2 is going to that Game 7. The distance here, it is make or break right now for UWE. They do not want to allow the Lions confidence in a second series. And for the Lions, they do not want to lose this, because if they do, that is the end of their entire tournament, the end of their run here at Newell. But no such luck on that yet. They're not going to find a fourth goal, or at least I don't think so. The defense holding too strong for UWE, and they will have to settle with a 3-0 victory as, oh wait, maybe not 3-0. Here come UWE. They're going to try for one more goal. They will not get it. But the Lions, nonetheless, will still take the win. And Game 7 we go, Sigmoid. This is what we were hoping for, my friend. We are here. This is make or break. Like I said, Loughborough Lions need to win this if they want even a chance at a second series.
And you just got to imagine the pain. UWE, they had match point this game. We're going to have match point next time. If you throw it away twice, they're going to be stinging in the next series. Could be a much faster one than the 2 we've seen so far. But of course, we have gone the full distance so far. 14 of the 21 potentially being played here. Loughborough needing this to take us to a bracket reset.
And again, you got to mention that every single time. 14 out of a possible 21. Loughborough have taken both of their series so far here today to the distance. If they end up going to another full 7 games in their second series, it is going to be an exhausting run for this team who have played over 3 hours of Rocket League at that point. But we're not quite there yet. First, we've got to get through this Game 7, and more specifically, Loughborough have got to get through this Game 7. If they lose this, it is the end of their tournament, and I cannot emphasize enough how incredibly important that is. They want to be the 4-time champions. They'd love to keep this going. But right now, the Sea Stags stand in their way and stand with a great chance at taking the title. Let's see if they can get something together here as Theris flies through the air. Not enough boost in the tank to do anything with the ball. The Sea Stags doing something we didn't see them do in the last game. They are keeping offensive pressure up and just overwhelming their opponents.
That being said, the opportunity's been provided. Tom going to smash it to the bottom right, and there is nothing that Sebadam can do to stop that one being rifled in.
This is, from what was really good offensive pressure to a very broken defense there. The Sea Stags have got to be careful. We were complimentary of their defense earlier because of the fact that they were throwing everybody in, but still seemed like they could recover. Now they've given away an early goal to the Lions. This does not bode well. Like we said, when the Lions get an early lead, they seem to take that momentum and just run with it for the rest of the match.
Ball now dropping down to the midfield. Stam playing it forward. I think he was trying to find Crimson, but she was off getting boost. Wasn't the most optimally communicated play there. Theorist Wind now clearing this ball away, maybe even ending this offensive play. And in fact, wait a second. No, this ball's just careering straight in. What? The demo onto Sebadam. We talked about it before. You shot him down, you shot the entire team down, and that has proven to be the case. Stam from end to end to extend the lead to 2.
Uh-oh, this isn't boding well. It looks like UWE are kind of throwing everything they've got on the table, and that isn't enough. Even with the kitchen sink involved, they're going to have to try something a little bit different here. This reckless play to start the game has left them down by 2, and I don't want to say we're going to a second series here, but if this is how the Sea Stags are going to play this game, we're going to a second series here. They've got to be careful. This is far too reckless for such a solid opponent in the Lions.
Just think, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. UWE, if they'd had a slightly better start, they could still have had an easy opportunity to close the series out here and now. They'll be ruined from the opportunities they missed earlier in the series. And yet now we see them here, 2 goals down, 3 minutes though. It's a lot of time. They can still come back into it. Theorist of Wind trying to get a block out, forcing this over to Inkog. He's going to play this long over to the corner. Can he get a follow-up? No, he can't. It's Tom that's going to play this long. He's going to test Theorist of Wind. He's actually come back with a test for Loughborough there, and it's a double commit. You could argue that Loughborough failed there. UWE applying even more pressure. Those bumps coming out, but not able to finish the job off.
UWE getting so close on a multitude of occasions there. Some good demo play in front of the net. Just physicality flying on both halves of the pitch. But still no such luck here as Seb picks up an accidental demo. I don't even think he knew that he was getting chased by another player. But that demo could be enough to open up an opportunity here for UWE. There is not able to get a touch out of the corner, but Seb will be there to pop it out to the middle where Inkog is not there. Retreating into defense, and I can understand why, but they cannot start losing confidence. This team needs to take advantage of their opportunities. Otherwise, they're just going to allow for a counterattack out of the Lions. Once again, this just feels like this should have been avoided altogether had they not started playing defensively and passively.
I think at this point, your series management is going to be tested as UWE. You're now 3-0 down in a game where if you win it, you seal the whole thing. But do you really want to commit all your effort and all your emotions into this game when you could well lose it, and that could leave you tilted for the next game? Sebadam, as the strongest player on this side, is going to have to make that decision. Well, Loughborough, I'm sure, are probably quite happy to continue firing balls at the net and making a show out of UWE.
I would imagine so, because it's looking like doing exactly that is going to force a second series here. Once again, we have to reiterate that this is going to be a bracket reset. If Loughborough make this, though, that means that the next series, it is make or break for both teams at that point. They have both taken a loss here in the bracket, and I think we're going there. 90 seconds left here, and unless UWE have some sort of trick up their sleeve that they've been holding out on the entire series, I don't think they can do 4 goals in 90 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know what made you think that, but I'm inclined to agree for some reason. Yeah, 91 seconds, 4 goals. Yeah, it's not much time at all. Oh, unless no, okay, no. That one looked like it was going to trickle in, but Stam was there. Was going to get the mercy out to Crimson, who's going to play this nice and. Oh no, it's Tom who's going to be playing this nice and long to Crimson. I'm getting my names mixed up. Stam now getting this ball to the middle. That is Tom there. I know that this time. Theoris though cutting that one off. Crimson getting it to the side of that touch, also getting the dunk on Sabadam. It was an awkward one, and she's got the boost as well, done so well to maintain that control. 60 seconds now. You've got to think Loughborough will be sending us to a second series in this grand final. Incock now forcing it high. His team pokes in passes, at least for this series, and I imagine they're probably struggling a little bit mentally right now. Sabadam, he thought that ball through, but his teammates not willing to commit to it. They really need to be going all guns blazing. The opportunities they're presenting themselves, but they're just not taking them if they want to take it here and now.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing right now is that there are few and far opportunities being arriving, here for UWE. And when they do arrive, they've got to pounce. They've got to try and jump on them as quickly as possible. And that, I think, is why they lost this game. Like we said, they played very hesitantly. And speaking of hesitant, Seb takes a second on that one, doesn't get the right position, and now it's a counterattack, which is not going to turn into a goal. But it feels like UWE were in their own head here. They absolutely could have taken this series had they not just changed everything. It looks so awkward on their defense. Their offense doesn't know whether or not it wants to play aggressively or defensively, and it just all around not the best game out of UWE. I think we're going to have to try and see if they can get it done here in the second series, but I mean, I don't know. This is not the game that we were hoping for out of UWE. They're a very capable team, but this game just did not show their prowess.
Indeed. And to think what it would have meant if they could win it here, never won a title domestically in their history, would have been such a strong start for them.
Not quite able to do so, though, and they're going to have to try and get it done in a second series. The bracket has been reset at this point. They're going to have to try and figure out whether or not they can, in this little bit of a break we're going to give them, go back to the drawing board, figure out what they were doing wrong, and I'm hoping that they're at least hearing the cast that you and I are talking about and taking some of the notes, because I really do truly believe that a lot of the issue we're seeing out of that team, out of the Sea Stags, was the fact that they started getting defensive when they should be aggressive. When that team was aggressive and kept that offensive pressure up, they looked unstoppable. But when they started getting hesitant, when they started getting into their own heads and allowing the other team more time on offense, it just never worked out. So we're going to have to see, Sig. We're going to bracket number 2 here. Like I said, there's going to be a little bit of a break here. We're going to get everything reset, make sure that everybody is prepared for the second bracket, give them some, time to grab some water, do whatever they might need. But when we return, it is make or break for both teams. It's going to be the Sea Stags versus the Lions. It is going to be a battle and a half. For the Loughborough Lions, it's a chance to go for 4 titles in a row. For the UWE Sea Stags, it's a chance for them to take their very first. Do not go anywhere. When we get back, it'll be the final series of this entire summer championship. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned.
because I'm falling. I'm falling. Tell me why I'm falling. Oh, life's calling, but it's all because I'm falling. Falling, 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 started to fall, and where were you? How could I know you were falling too? Grabbing the wind, cutting my skin, but it's hard because I'm falling. Tell me why I'm falling. Oh, life's calling, but it's hard because I'm falling.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the final series of the night. Loughborough against UWE once again, and this time it's take it all. I'm still Sig. I'm still joined by Bath. Bath, we've just had a mammoth series. What do you have to say?
I was just more going to reiterate that this is indeed for everything. All I've got to say is that this has absolutely delivered on every single level here. Out of a possible 14 games, we have seen 14 games. If we end up going 21 for 21, I'm going to be astonished, but I also won't really be surprised. Both these teams look about as even as ever. If UWE show up, they look unstoppable. If the Lions show up, they look the same. Both these teams have been extremely capable here today. The biggest question is whether or not we're going to see them at their best here, because after 14 games, mental fatigue is going to set in at some point, Sig. If it's not this first game, it will be some point throughout this series.
I have to agree there. And oh my god, I got so caught off guard there. I'm watching the test lobby. Someone's scored. I was like, oh my god, I need to be casting this. No, I don't. I need to focus on the pre-series. Now, I suppose we could have a look back at some of the paths these two teams have taken. Of course, they face in the winners' final. They've had, as far as things go, the perfect event, perhaps not, in the exception of Loughborough, who conceded a series in that winners' final. But besides that, definitely the two strongest teams throughout the event. Hopefully that one's up now. I think we do have to say Essex perhaps a little unfortunate. Maybe on another day, if they'd stayed in the upper bracket, they'd have had another opportunity to face Loughborough a bit earlier on. They wouldn't have had all the pressure, and maybe they would have had a little better. But of course, they went out in third. Birmingham upsetting Essex, of course, they placed fourth, and the rest of the teams all equally strong, I think, in this bracket. Really tight games throughout, and of course, it's come down to this: UWE against Loughborough for the final.
The final, and this is a legendary one. We've mentioned it a couple of times here today. For UWE, it would be their first title here at Newell. For Loughborough, it would be their fourth. It'd be huge. They would be one of the most dominant teams here to ever touch this league. And, I mean, it really is looking like they might be able to do so, Sig. At this point, it seems like when the Lions are on, they are such a strong team. The biggest issues we've had with this team so far here today have been a lot of confidence issues to where they are not necessarily playing the challenges as aggressively as they should, and some inaccuracy issues. But now that the day has gone on long enough, I feel like both of those issues are starting to get ironed out. The question is whether or not we start to see a counter out of their opponents. UWE look very good right now. They have looked extremely strong throughout the day. They just don't seem to have that little bit of edge on their opponents, and that has left them in the dust on a multitude of occasions.
And of course, those last two games, they seem to fall apart a bit. Sure, they opened strong, but as soon as they conceded, it was like the pressure really started getting to them.
This is going to be an interesting one. It feels like pressure is at an all-time high here at this point. It's not necessarily surprising to see both of these teams with this much pressure, but the more surprising thing would be is if we see this not go to a Game 7. Again, after 14 games, if this does end in favor of one of these two teams rather heavily, I'd actually be kind of surprised.
Yeah, and I actually have to agree there, to be honest, given how close it's been so far. I think it would be pretty ridiculous if we were to get a quick. On that being said, both sides, there's a potential for fatigue now. Loughborough, of course, have done this before. They're perhaps used to playing for so long, but perhaps not quite so tightly.
Yeah, this has been an interesting back and forth between the two teams. We're still getting through this test lobby right now, making sure that everybody is all prepared for this one. And again, it's just one of these things where it does kind of feel like both these teams are at such a close point here that it just kind of depends on who has momentum going into this final matchup at this point. And I've got to wonder whether or not we're going to see both these teams at their peak here. Like you said, fatigue is definitely set in for UWE. It's definitely set in for Loughborough. It's just kind of one of these things where I'm starting to wonder whether or not we're going to see them at their highest point, or if we're just going to kind of see them with whatever they've got left over. I'm hoping that we see them at their best, because it really did seem like in Game 6 and 7, we started to see the teams with some of their best potential, and that was why we were saying that this series was so incredibly close the entire time.
Yeah, almost for sure. Now, we're going to get into Game 1 of the second series very shortly. I'm sure Sevadam or LCS Pro will be looking to rectify those issues you were just mentioning. Now, I guess we have to go into predictions. It's definitely a tough one. last series was super tight. I personally am inclined more towards Loughborough given the nature of the ending of that last series, but I want to get your thoughts on it.
I mean, I might lean toward Loughborough here. I just think that they have a little bit more clutch in them. But I think the biggest thing that's going to come down to here is going to be whether or not we see UWE with the correct strategy. If they come into this one passive and they still don't seem to have their full confidence, absolutely, this goes in favor of the Lions without a second thought in my mind. If we see UWE with a winning strategy, aka the aggressive side where they get a lot of shots, a lot of opportunities, I don't know if Loughborough is going to be able to recover. But again, it's whether or not they go with that strategy, because I don't know what happened in between game 5 and 6, but somewhere along there, they stopped going with that uber aggressive strategy and started playing a little bit more reserved, and it just kind of went out the window. So if we see Loughborough do their usual and they just kind of come out the gates firing and get some momentum in their favor, absolutely. If we see UWE with an effective strategy and they take game 1, it's their favor. But again, this is one of the hardest choices I could possibly make. This is basically a coin flip at this point. So, Sig, you know what I'm going to hope for? I'm not going to hope either team one of these wins. I'm hoping we get a good series at minimum.
Okay, yeah, let's hope for that. A good series would be nice. It is getting late in the day. Both these teams getting fatigued. Hopefully they're able to maintain their form, and even if it's not quite as close as the last one, hopefully we'll be able to get some good Rocket League. We have got an opening here though, Tom, taking this one towards the midfield, but unlike some of the goals we've seen scored in the last series, it's not Loughborough coming in early. Crimson though, looking to come in with that flip reset, beats out Severdam, almost beats out Incog, but Incog able to get that to the side. Stam though, playing some through, where's a follow-up? Tom's there, Tom's playing it in.
And I think that we might need a little bit of help here. Some technical difficulties happening within this game, so I think that we might just be getting a reset on this lobby. Going to figure that out in just a second. And if so, that means that we're going to have to try and see if the momentum can get a little bit staled. And yeah, I think that indeed we are going to get a reset here. So a little bit of technical difficulties real quick. Make sure that we can get this back to a 0-0 and back into a new lobby, which just gives us a little bit more time to theorize now at this point, Sig. I mean, I know we were only in the game for about 2 seconds, but it's pretty clear. Loughborough back on their drive. They seem rather aggressive to start that game.
They did, and I think putting that in was some pretty solid stuff. It looked like they were very much in control at the start there. It's just a shame that UWE were suffering some technical issues. I was going to say, where's their third man? As it turns out, he was suffering with 10 frames per second on the wrong side of the goal, which of course is never ideal, and that's why we're going through a restart now.
Yeah, you never want to have that little bit of difficulty to start off a game. If it doesn't feel right out the gate, call for a reset, get everything all good, make sure that you're ready and fully capable into the next match. And I think it's the better move here. Again, for UWE at this point, it's about making sure that they're going to have the most confidence going into the second series, because after losing the first series in a bracket reset final, it can be kind of difficult to try and pull yourself back into the game and make sure that you have that confidence. So for UWE, they have to be comfortable going into this next series. If they are not, it is not going to be a fun run for them in any way, shape, or form. So, you know, resets happen. It happens on occasion. It really does happen to the best of them, and it's happened to everybody from Oral CS all the way down to amateur. So, happens here. It is what it is. We're going to get this new lobby set up, make sure that these players are all confident, and make sure that they are all set. But I'm also interested, now that we have been here for long enough and we've actually seen 2 series out of these, an entire 2 series, who's your MVP, or who are you looking at right now? We had mentioned Tom earlier, we had mentioned Crimson, we had mentioned Seb on a couple occasions, but I'm interested to hear your thought on who the shining light has been for the day.
I mean, it's definitely a close one, but I feel like for that X factor that these players can bring, Stam has been doing wonders with his 1v1 skills, playing that ball around his opponents, moving it very quickly, and changes of direction are going to throw them off pretty consistently if he can keep them up in this final series.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I also do want to give a little bit of a shout out here to some of the players we had seen previously that are not here. Lex put an incredible game on today here. I know that Essex has not made it all the way back here to this grand finals, and it's an unfortunate end to their tournament. But hey, Lex, if that's the way that you're going to go out in terms of just overall, I think that that's not a bad performance to do so. You guys take 3rd place. You really did bring your team to a very, very prominent spot here in this tournament, and you should be proud of doing exactly that. So I think there's a lot of highlight players here today. I would 100% agree with you, but I think that, you know, there's some of the little dogs here that did not necessarily make this finals that we also want to give a shout out to. but we're going to have to see if maybe some of those highlight players can show off here in this grand final. We are back. The lobby is back up. We are all ready to go. No more technical difficulties, or so we think. It is series number 2 here. For both of these teams, it is make or break. Either one of them can win this entire tournament in 4 games if they can get it done. And Seb, going to be the first one to strike here. Last time it was the Lions. This time it's UWE.
Yeah, Stam just getting caught up on the backline there, Seb. It was an absolute bullet from the midway. And, yeah, just a lovely piece of work. I think I mentioned this before. There is a bit of a red zone where you can get the ball just behind the player cheating the kickoff and too far in front of the player coming for boost, and that just provides a perfect opportunity for the player cheating on the other side to smash it to the back of the net. And when that's Sebadam, you can get quite some pace on it. Tom, though, looking to make reparations immediately, firing that one towards the goal, although this ball now being played away by the side of UWE.
Oh my word, close calls all around. The Lions just put one off the bar, not quite able to get one into the back of the net, and as a result, UWE will hold on to their lead for now. First 30 seconds of this match, though, an absolute firefight between the two teams, and it's not going to stop. Tom will indeed find the back of the net, and if this ends up being one of these things where we just see a plethora of goals going back and forth, I'm not going to be upset. I don't know about you, Sig.
Yeah, no, can't complain. A goal fest would be lovely. Probably a bit more reminiscent of the earlier parts of last series, so both these sides were able to compete with each other. We're going to see, though, if any side can pull away from each other now. Loughborough back on offense very quickly. Tom tipping up high. Incog is actually going to get it long, though, so Crimson not going to come in for that offense quite as quickly as I thought she was. Stam now controlling this over the top of his goal. That's the sort of play you want to see when you're forced up against your own back, but don't play it in front of your own net. Keep it glued, because your opposition can't shoot quite so easily from there.
They're starting to learn. It took them about 2 series here, but finally the Lions are no longer dragging it in front of their own net and giving opportunities to their opponents. Essex were so good at doing that earlier today, just taking advantage of every time that they did see one of those opportune plays. But no longer are they starting to arrive, not nearly as frequently, and as a result, the Lions have evened out this game here in Game 1 of Series 2. It's about as even as we had expected, though. Both teams looking pretty strong here. The accuracy still a little bit of a difficulty here for everyone on the Lions, but they're getting better. They're definitely starting to get better opportunities, and the question is what opportunity finally finds its way into the back of the net with this much pressure? Eventually, something's got to ring home, but it will not be that. Crimson and Tom both go up for that one, and actually, because of the double commit, it's now going to leave them vulnerable as UWE are starting their counterattack. So I thought. Crimson given free reign here out of midfield. No one wants to challenge. Incog not going to challenge either. And again, this is not something I want to see out of UWE. If they get too defensive, they tend to play a bit too passive and then start just losing opportunities overall.
Yeah, that is quite concerning, because I want to say this is the first real sustained period of offense, and they haven't done anything that scary. They rolled a ball at the net. They had one which went straight to the defender. But overall, I'm not sure there's been much boost forced out from Loughborough. Maybe if UWE can sustain this pressure for a little longer, it might be possible as they lob this one over the top. Tom, he is actually going to get a touchdown. It was crucial. Theorist had an opportunity at the double there, but was denied by that one.
I do appreciate that Incog is diving in on that one, though, not allowing the offense to, stop its flow overall. And I think that is huge right now for UWE. Like we said, when they just kind of send it at the ball on repeat and just keep the pressure up, they are such a strong team. I'm okay with them missing a shot like that as long as they have someone following it up and keeping this pressure, because the defense right now for the Lions looks extremely awkward. They are desperate to break out of their own half, and as a result, they're giving away a lot of easy balls to their opponents. So UWE, keep doing what you're doing right now, lads. You are continually putting on the pressure here and making it difficult for the Lions to break out. And if you continue to do this for long enough, eventually a crack in the armor will show and you will be able to bust right on through to find a goal into the back of the net. That being said, you guys have to be careful, because here comes the Lions on the other end, but only for a moment. Is this one going to find its way? No! Crimson with a save. But Sig, this is the team we were hoping for. This is the offense we were hoping for out of UWE.
Almost certainly Loughborough looking super strong. Crimson, oh my, almost getting a huge slip there. Caught it with one of the front tyres, managed to get the flick with the other, seeming to be travelling so quickly, but was blocked out brilliantly, I think, by Theorist of Wind.
That block going to be huge for the team right now, as UWE are still going to hold on to this tied ball game, but they're eyeing up a lead with the last minute of play coming underway here. The question is whether or not one of these teams is able to find a good shot before the end of regulation. If we go to an overtime here in game 1, it would be all but inevitable, but we have 40 seconds left here. Maybe someone can get a good offense together. Theorists trying their best on a solo play, but without any boost in the tank. It's going to be an awkward play on the other end, though. Crimson passes to the center. Oh, my word. That was, I don't know about you, Sigmoid. That was flashbacks from pretty much every other time here today.
Yeah, dare I say I'm going to end up with some traumatic stress after this series. Anytime anyone plays that ball anywhere near the middle of the box, heck, it might just appear in my dreams, Crimson trying to cross the box with the ball. Tom, though, is going to provide an opportunity for Lufra here. Gets the ball over the top Incog with a block. Who's looking to follow up? It's Crimson. She's got underneath it. Incog. It's a weak touch. I'm not sure there's a follow-up. Crimson underneath it again. I think this ball just needs to be killed now. Stam has actually left an opportunity for Theus to win, but he's not willing to capitalize on it. We go to overtime in game number 1 of this bracket reset.
Oh my word, bold moves all around there. Whether it's Theorist not going for that ball or it is Washed going for that one. Stam with a very bold move on the pitch. But luckily enough, it's not going to be a punishment for either team as we do get overtime. And now we're down to that golden goal scenario. And as Stam is the first person to play up his team, especially when it comes to the shot. Apparently you do want him taking the shot off target and out, and the best opportunity all game for the Lions has came and gone within a second.
Yeah, that was quite unfortunate. Crimson, though, dropping this one back in as a second opportunity, but Tom's missed. Sebadam, what can he do? Only going to get it as far as Tam and Loughborough, I hope, are going to keep piling on the pressure here. Crimson lobbing it up. Incog, that's an awkward touch to the side. Crimson looking to play this back through. Stamina got some space now. Sebadam placed it underneath him. Thirst of Wind comes through, beats out him, but Incog is the one to find the touch. Stam now keeping on this ball. He's going to tee it up. Sebadam getting to it, but it can only get it to the box where Crimson is quite happy scooping it up.
This is a really awkward play on the back end here, though. UWD need to break out of their own half and give themselves a good opportunity as, oh boy, double commitment out at midfield is not going to help them. Stand with a demo. This could be huge. An awkward defense now for everyone on the Sea Stags. If the Lions can take advantage, this would be the end of the game. Pass out to the center. Stand with the shot, but Seb with the save again. Seb being that MVP player we had mentioned earlier, saves a flying, and that might just now lead to a UWE counterattack. Theorist wants this one center, drops it low for Incog, and he will take the shot and find the back of the net. A little bit of a delay on the shot to not allow the defense to react quickly enough, and that'll be it. 2-1 in favor of UWE as they take the first game.
Yeah, Loughborough are going to be ruining some of those missed chances earlier on in the game. UWE, they weren't looking the strongest. They had a lot of control towards the end of that game, but weren't able to score. But Loughborough came back swinging overtime, and then they just let UWE in at the last minute. Not the way they wanted to start their second series, I don't think.
No, probably not. I think they'd probably prefer a win here, but for UWE, this is the adjustments you and I were talking about, Sigmoid. This is exactly what we were hoping for out of this team. Extreme aggression in the face of their opponents, making them uncomfortable and taking advantage of that uncomfort when the time arrived. This is how UWE wins a championship. They play like this. For the Lions, it's about trying to play a little bit more carefully because, again, we're still seeing some of the issues we saw earlier today where they're just giving away balls for no reason and leaving them in the most awkward and just vulnerable positions.
That being said, UWE haven't helped themselves there. Tom able to get it out to Stam. Crimson looking for the bump onto Sebadam, but she can't find it, so it's Incog now with a breakaway opportunity.
Back into the corner yet again, though. No such luck. And Theorist, up very early. That's not good. The miss there is going to lead to a goal. That's unfortunate overall for UWE. Again, when they lock into their opponent's half, they do a great job. When they miss like that, though, that's almost an inevitable Lions goal.
That's also an incredibly paced shot as well, 103 kilometers per hour as it crossed the net. And Incog just completely caught out. He was in about the right place to cover some of the net, but getting that quickly I think was impossible given the situation he was left in.
Now here comes a second attack here for the Loughborough Lions. Can they get something together here? Not quite. Wait, maybe they will. Crimson with a lackluster shot. I thought that no one was prepared on defense, but Seb going to make me eat my words as now they launch their own counterattack. But This really does feel like the trend we've seen so far between these two teams. As tight as it may be, they really are just kind of trading wins back and forth right now.
That they are. Sebadam now looking to get underneath this, but that's a miss there. He's going to get back on it though, play it into the corner. Can he get a decent center? No, he's going to struggle. Crimson with more boost, and I think the better positioning meant it was so much easier. There is the win though, able to get it back to the midfield. Incog locked to top right, but blocked away by the blue defense.
Oh my word, they're trying everything that they can right now. UWE throwing everything at their opponents, but cannot find anything that sticks to the back of the net. Crimson, though, clears this one straight down center, and it should be an easy save. If someone can do it, Incog and Seb, both trying to just kind of wait out for their teammate to go for the ball. At the end of that one, they both went for it. Luckily enough, it was saved, but oh my word, the awkwardness starting to develop here for the University of West England. They have got to be careful when it comes to that defense.
And yeah, I think we're going to have to continue to be careful. Tom has not beaten here. It's forced away by Incog, but this Loughborough side still keeping the ball in a decent position if they want to follow up. Crimson now in the midfield. I think Incog's out of the picture there, but Theorist to win is going to get the block. But it's not the situation you want to be in as UWE. These 1v1s and 1v2s you put yourselves in are far from ideal, both in terms of holding those nerves and in practicality. It's very hard to defend so many times in a row against that.
Yeah, it really is going to be rather difficult. They need to try to play better as a trio right now. UWE, when they do play with all three players on the pitch and have a good flow, they are very difficult to stop. It's part of why we say that that offensive pressure is so effective for them. But in this game, they have absolutely been outshot. They now have 7, let's make it 8 shots in favor of the Lions here. Meanwhile, UWE with only 2, and well, this is kind of emphasizing the point here. The Lions, again, so efficient. If you give them an opportunity, they will punish.
That is genuinely shocking, actually. It's only been half the game. To get 8 shots is, I know, probably coming on a record, at least for the night, if not the entire playoffs. Incog, though, going to field this one away, though, not going to let Loughborough get their 9th shot just yet. Crimson now over to the left. Can she get back on it? Yes, she can. Can she pop it over Sebadam? Well, she can try, but try as she might, it's not going to be the one that gets through. Tom now over to the wall, looking for a follow-up. And actually needs to leave that for Stanley's in a far better start. Oh no, Crimson, not again. Okay, never mind. She actually played that quickly before any of the opponents got there. Playing across the middle of the box did actually work out in that case, and I think she actually got into a decent amount of space. It's just a shame, I think, for her that she wasn't able to get on that ball and really drive it down the wall past the opponents.
I think she's just too five-headed for the both of us at this point. She knows what she's doing. She's just baiting them in and waiting for someone to try and jump. Jokes aside, Crimson has tried this strategy a couple of times today without much success, but finally this time it does not go punished. And with 90 seconds left, I actually don't think it's going to make, well, I was going to say much of a difference, as UWE have yet to still find their first goal of this game, but they are pressuring here. They do want to find that goal. They want to even force an overtime, and shots like this aren't going to be enough. Incog into the backboard wanted to put that on target, but no such luck. Crimson, though, not going to be able to clear this one out of the half, and I think as we approach the final minute, there will be an opportunity. Seb had the biggest opportunity for the team so far, but puts it off target, and as close as they get, the Sea Stags do not find their first goal. Oh, and they double commit as well. This is bad. Here comes the inevitable counterattack out of the Lions.
It is so desperate, it seems, from this orange UWE side. Stamina getting the ball in. Tom looking to find Loughborough's third. It's not going to go in, but you keep affording these opportunities to Loughborough UWE. You need to start cutting that out if you're going to make this a competitive series.
Yeah, they just need to try and shut this team down, and they really are not doing that. Loughborough just doing a great job right now of just, I don't know, it's making them feel uncomfortable. I don't understand what happened with Theorist there. I don't know why Seb then decided to also kind of trail him, despite the fact that Incog was not back. It's just, the organization right now for this trio is just not where it needs to be, and we say this as the casters who have seen them have incredible organization as the trio. It's kind of those weird up and down for these guys, where certain games they are extremely aggressive, and they know how to keep that aggression up, and then other games they get very passive and just don't know how to get shots on target. At a difference of 13 to 4 shots, it's just, you can't win with this few shots in comparison to your opponents.
Absolutely agreed there. Now, admittedly, if you're being totally efficient with your shots, UWE could have taken this, but reality is some of those shots are just going to be passes, others are going to be shots which were sort of rolled at the goal And in this case, none of them have gone in. Loughborough taking this game 3-0.
This is a convincing win, and unfortunately, like we said, if the Lions get momentum in their favor, it is big for them. They are a team that thrives off of momentum, and for Loughborough right now, they just need to try and, well, take that momentum and keep running with it. UWE, it's about getting back to that aggressive strategy. I don't know how many times we can reiterate it without sounding like a broken record, but it just kind of goes to show you 4 saves to the Loughborough Lions in this game versus a total of 13 shots. UWE with a total of 10 saves versus their 4 shots. It just felt like UWE were playing from a defensive position the entire matchup. And again, that is not a winning strategy for them. For them to be an effective team, they seriously need to be an aggressive one. It seems every time they get a win, it's because of their aggression.
Can't really dispute that at all. I think Loughborough, if they're going to keep this up, are going to have UWE suffering a real hard time. Now, admittedly, it's hard to say whether Loughborough have just really stepped up and consolidated or UWE have dropped off. It's definitely going to be another close one if UWE are able to raise their level. But whether they dropped off in the first place is another question. Maybe Loughborough are just stretching away at this point.
We're going to have to find out. Loughborough going to try their best to take a second game in a row here and give themselves a little bit of breathing room, some momentum in their favor. But against a team like UWE, that's not going to be easy. But if Seb just misses shots, it's really going to be easy. At least this time, Incock puts one on. It's not going to find the back of the net, but this has got to be a goal, right? UWE, you had so much momentum and such a good opportunity, but still not able to find one. This is starting to get concerning for me, Sig. They're doing everything they can to keep this offensive pressure up and still cannot find goals against the Lions.
You know what I'd put that down to? Probably something like a bad chair. But if you go with Unite students, who knows? You might have a stronger setup, more space in your room. Unite students, of course, running accommodation in 25 cities across the country. If you're looking for accommodation there, the place to look right now. Back to the game though, 4 minutes on this clock, still goalless. Tom trying to drive forward, getting this ball knocked forward a bit. Serious to win now, picking this up. Crimson trying to get in the way. Can't manage it. Serious to win, continuing to push forward, but Sam going to force that one high. Going to pick this one up himself, driving forward, looking to beat out Zebedam, but I think that was the wrong choice. Zebedam was not going to get faked by that. He was just going straight to the ball. And Tom going to drive this one forward now, try and get it down into the box to one of his teammates.
Here is trying to go for these solo plays, which have been so incredibly prevalent. But like you said, I think the 2 players that can really pull off solos right now are probably going to be Stam and Seb. Those are the 2 people on the pitch who I'm really focusing on for the solo plays. A couple of good solo plays coming out of Crimson as well, but overall, the solo plays have not really worked out for anybody. It's been a lot of these passing plays and these more intricate sort of developments on offense that have turned into goals. So right now for UWE, it's about trying to continue with that. Like we said, when they play, oh my word, as a trio, they do a great job. When Seb pinches them towards the net like that, it also can be somewhat effective, but a bit too much power is not going to work out. Maybe he can do something with this air dribble. No such luck. Tom in the way, and Stam wants the follow-up touch, but just launches it into the backboard. And again, the 2 teams still do look as even as ever. I'm now starting to wonder what on earth the shot that breaks this stalemate is going to look like.
Well, I think we could be about to find out. Tom, awkward on defense, is actually going to get the block there. I had an awful feeling that maybe he was going to be caught off guard. Felt like he was low on boost. Zebedam, though, can provide another opportunity. He has 0 boost. It's going to pick up the 100. I'd like to get the boost over the potential shot there, and it almost was a perfect setup for Sirius to win. In this case, though, not a goal. 2.5 minutes gone, and unlike some of the other games we've seen so far, absolutely goalless. Nothing coming from either side. Sure, there's been some challenges, but nothing that's found the back of the net.
Like I mean, we mentioned this earlier sort of as a joke, but now it feels even more real. These teams are just kind of trading wins here, overwhelmingly in favor of the Lions in the last one. Then we get into this one, and it's about as even as ever. A really weird turn of events here, but again, this sort of just goes to show the prowess of these 2 teams. Even when you think that someone...
Hold up.
Oh, no.
Okay, never mind. Tom getting back out. Zebedam taking too much time over that dribble. I've got to say, maybe it's just some bad vibes in the UWE. Oh, hang on. That's off the post. That's not in from Incock. Can Zebedam get it through? He can force it that way. He's looking for the disc, but Crimson's going to force it out as well. Once again, for the defense from Loughborough, it's scrambled, it's messy, but they're making it work.
I don't know how, though. That's the question here, is that it's so incredibly messy, but both of these teams still seem to have pretty good control and understanding of what's going on the pitch here. Even if the play breaks down for a second, no one seems to get too flustered. And again, this is sort of the impressive play of these two teams. Most people would have nerves start to become a pretty prominent factor here. It doesn't seem like nerves are playing too much of a factor right now. It very much is just two sides kind of battling it out, waiting for a good opportunity. And could this be the one? Seb off the ceiling has a flip, can't touch the ball though. That would have been the highlight play for the day had he gotten the touch, but no such luck. Instead, UWE will have to go back to the drawing board as we get through this final minute of play.
Hang on. Oh, potentially another shot coming through there. UWE pushing that one almost straight onto a defender though. I think Tom caught out of the lobby for a second. That has just joined back in the lobby. It was very, very scary for a second there for Loughborough, but we remain goalless. UWE not quite getting the pressure they wanted, I don't think.
They are at least starting to lock their opponents into their half, but it's not going to matter much if they can't find a solid shot. They are doing what we asked for in this game, though. They are overwhelmingly shooting more than their opponents at this point. At a total of, I believe it is 9 shots to 2, this has by far been in favor of UWE when it comes to offense. But again, the defense just too solid on the side of the Lions here. At a total of 9 saves. Oh,
okay, I think we're going to remain goalless as we head into overtime unless UWE can pull off an absolute miracle. I'll let you continue now.
I don't blame you on that one. That was a little bit too close of a call for me not to get interrupted on that one because... Wait, no, please. Okay, thought Incog was about to pass that to the center for the final goal of this game. I think it should be the final anyways. Crimson makes the save, steps there for the follow-up, and he puts it in. Dude, this game is chaos. I don't know what to say at this point, Sig.
Yeah, I think it was Crimson that managed to get a touch there. Both the Loughborough players throwing themselves at the ball, and ultimately that double commit, not what he wanted.
Probably not, considering the fact that they have now unfortunately lost the game there. UWE taking it in the narrowest of fashions, and listen, if this is going to be what it's like for the for the rest of this entire series, I am not going to be unhappy with this one, Sig. This has been a battle and a half. It has looked phenomenal so far here. My question is whether or not we start to see the Lions go back to a dominant playstyle, because again, if history is anything to show, this next one should be a win overwhelmingly in favor of the Lions.
You'd think so, yeah. Now, it is odd, though, because UWE, they've won games, but I'll be honest, they've really taken their time over it. In this series alone, they've had 2 overtime wins, while Loughborough won, I think, was it 4-0 in game number 2? Mm-hmm. Very, very convincingly, to say the least.
And they also, I believe, had either a 4-0 or 4-1 in the last series as well. It's very odd how, even in a game this close, somehow teams can just kind of take that little bit of an adjustment and all of a sudden they just are able to, dominate. And I don't really quite understand why, but, we'll take what we can get here. It creates some really interesting Rocket League, and it creates the opportunity for Crimson to stunt at the beginning of game number 4 here. UWE up by 1. University of West England would love to try and take this game and put themselves on game point to just give them the best chance possible, but that's a lot easier said than done when already the Lions are on the prowl.
They have bottled that opportunity, though. Crimson off the backboard. Stam was too far forward, and Tom, he wasn't able to read the final touch of Tom, where he played it behind him quite so well, and so they're back on defense. I really think they could have made something of that, and they might be afforded a second opportunity now. Sebadam going to beat out Crimson, but can't beat out Stam. He's fed that nicely into the box, but Incog is the first player to it. Tom now off the side wall again, trying to get UWE to use some of that boost to get to the ball by playing it high on the back, but if it's gluing itself to the backboard, there's not an awful lot that has to be done other than to drive up to it and give a good flick. Incog now dropping it down into the box. Tom out the side, Crimson following up, looking at Sebadam, gets it over the first, looking for a bump, but it is Incog, a super solid second man performance out from him, always making sure that ball, if it gets past the first, does not become threatening.
Not quite yet. This one could be a threatening ball if UWE are able to get out of this corner, though. They're desperate to try and get some sort of shot on target here, but it's now just kind of developed into a whole fight back and forth here in this corner for the last about 15 seconds. Maybe we can finally get out. No such luck as Incog will keep it there. Theris, the first person to take it center, and are they actually going to get a goal from it? No such luck. Stam gets in the way, but it's still continual pressure out of UWE. Again, this is where they look the strongest, when they just have this pressure up, and eventually they find a crack in the defense of their opponents. But one miss out of Theris, the wind is already going to be the end of that offense. Incog going to try and restart this from his own half, and I think that they might be able to. Theris, yeah, going to be out of midfield, and once again, here come the UWE. If they can keep this offensive pressure up like we know they can, this might just be another game in favor of the C-Stacks.
That being said, this ball is just going end-to-end right now. Neither side, for the second game in a row, really able to find that killing blow. UWE, of course, found it last time, but whether the same will happen again remains to be seen. And overtime is an inherent risk if you choose to take it to it. You can just lose straight off that reset. It's a very unstable part of the play. Loughborough, I think they agree with me. Tom's forcing this one over top. It's off the backboard. Stam's there, but Incog able to flick it high.
Just barely out of the way, but it's not the end of the offense quite yet for the Lions, as they're just waiting out at midfield here. Stam going to put this one high. Incog doesn't make the touch, and Seb with a really interesting touch out in the corner. I think that they'll survive for now. Indeed, they do. But again, UWE looking a little bit shaky here. The Lions, one more time, will try and get a goal in. Crimson gets around two defenders, can't get around the third, and Seb's clear out. Will buy some time for everyone off of UWE to get recovered here. But again, awkward play on the defense right now. We know that UWE are much stronger of an offensive team, but their defense cannot look this shaky. Eventually, something's going to crack, and it'll be a goal in favor of the Lions.
Well, that being said, they almost completely bottled that play. Crimson was getting a bump in the box. There was one player passing, and the one taking the shot put it miles wide, and that's why they're back here now. 90 seconds on the clock, wanting to be getting up this pitch. Tom dropping it down to Crimson. She's going to flick it back onto the sidewalk. Can she be able to Theris to win? She can't. It's going to be left to Stam now. Stam now popping it over one, popping it over two, but Tom is bumped, and so there's nobody there to take the shot.
No such follow-up, and that's unfortunate for the Lions, as it's one of the best opportunities all game, and with only about 70 seconds left on the clock, they're going to have to take the best, do the most, with those advantages and those opportunities they are given here. This is about as intense as we had hoped for this one to be. Again, we thought that the Lions might come out here and just take a dominant victory like the history had shown, but no such luck here. UWE not backing down at all, but the Lions still could take it. Not if Seb has anything to say about it. Save on the line, and that's been the Sebadam special all day. He has done that more times than I can count.
I think one thing to bear in mind is Loughborough are getting these ambitious pressing plays off, but they are doing that final shot straight to the middle of the goal. Sure, it's the easiest one to shoot at, it's the most considered, but it's also the easiest place to save the ball from.
Speaking of which, they might just get one more chance to shoot one on target like that. Incog, though, gonna pass this one. Oh, out. No way. Please tell me this isn't an open net. Incog, he puts it off target, and Theris misses too. What was probably the best opportunity all game is now out the window, as UWE will try one more time. 7 to 1v1.
Out first. Yeah,
tries
okay,
to take it low.
I know for him.
Oh, and Incog, one more last chance. Will they even get a shot here?
I think we do have to bear in mind that UWE looked strong in overtime before, and they've got one here, and that previous regulation ended with UWE in control. Sure, Loughborough can break that down very quickly. Stam getting a touch off the side, and I think Crim, yeah, also going to put it sideways. Tom now, the first uncontested touch of the overtime, is going to get it forward. That being said, Stavridam fielding this straight back. Crimson was at field, but that ball is going to go straight off the backboard. Crimson now having that one. Oh, this is in an awkward spot. That one's dropped down. It's low, but Stam, he is going to pinch the ball off the floor for a save, and Stavridam on low boost isn't going to be able to achieve a lot in his first touch.
Oh my word, close calls here in front of the net, but they may not stop. My word, UWE pressing the issue right now. Like we said, this is their most effective strategy of just keeping this pressure up, but they're calling it very close at this point. The Lions now going to try for their own attack. 44 seconds into overtime, and at this point, it's already become a legendary battle, but it is a much more important one for the Lions here. If UWE ends up taking this game, the C-Stags will be on match point, meaning they only need one more. And oh my word, Theris to win, cutting off that interjection from Tom there, just barely getting in the way, and that'll keep this overtime going on for now as we get past a minute, and UWE looks to try and start yet another offense.
And it did seem to start it there, but Tom, that's a huge block, got it all the way down to the corner. There's the win, slightly awkward, but damn, he wasn't willing to challenge that for some reason. He's going to play the ball on to Crimson on the way back. Crimson going to win out that challenge, beats that Sevedan, but it's Incog there in his orange car. It's going to do the beating. Tom now getting the ball to the side. Damn, picking it up now. It's end-to-end gameplay from UWE and Loughborough right now.
That end-to-end gameplay makes it so incredibly intense. It's one mistake, and that could be the costly thing for either one of these teams. Usually that's how an overtime like this goes. It's either the most stellar goal we have ever seen, or it's a minor mistake that just ends it for one of these two teams. I'd love to see it be an incredible goal, because considering the caliber of goals we've seen here today, it wouldn't really be that surprising. But uh-oh, it could also just be a mistake. Tom just barely able to get back to that one. And that's going to be enough for the Lions to now start their own counterattack. Off the backboard, can someone be there for a touch? It will be Crimson. Pops it out to the center, but Seb gets in the way and now tries to start an attack for the Sea Stags here, but no such luck out at midfield once again. This is kind of the way that it's going right now. Both teams trying to start this overwhelming offensive pressure, and while both of them are getting close, still, no one has been able to take a really solid shot here in quite some time.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes. It's approaching that period of overtime where really both teams want. Oh no! Oh my God! Yeah. Stam just diving in at the last second to make that block. I'm lost for words as to how close that was. Crimson going to get this one away as well. UWE so close yet so far. Stam now once again really the strong player for this Loughborough side in this series. Normally you'd expect it to be Crimson, but it seems it's Stam with his 1v1 prowess, with his clutch save, keeping stuff going. Crimson, though, having the opportunity of the game, and she is going to tie the series at 2-2, 3 minutes and 10 to score a goal in overtime, 8 minutes and 10 across this game, and Crimson has managed to put it in.
And there it is. Like we said, there's two ways that these usually end. It's either a banger of a goal, it's a defensive error, and unfortunately for Theorist, it's a miss off the backboard. As a result, the Lions will even out this series, and that is not that great, unfortunately, for UWE. In such a close overtime, you really don't want to give up a silly mistake like that, not only because you lose the game, but similarly, the confidence this team must have, it's got to be draining now at this point. An absolute shame of a way to lose, but I hope that UWE are listening to you right now, and I hope they can hear this. You guys are not out of this series whatsoever. Keep your head in this game, and you absolutely can try and take this one. Despite it going back to a 2-2 scenario, it still does feel a little bit like UWE are just a tad more efficient when it comes to their offense.
I can only agree with you there. Admittedly, we can't see Theorist's stats as he disconnected towards the end. There actually was the same bug which got Tom caught out in the previous one, so both sides having their fair share of technical difficulties.
Yeah, the technical difficulties are unfortunately, a reality of what we're seeing here today. But that being said, at least it's providing a good series. Hey, our prediction of we go to Game 7 yet again might be correct at this point. We're at Game 4. It's 2-2. Unless someone takes it 2 games in a row at this point, we're going Game 7.
I mean, you've got to bear in mind, we've been casting for almost 3 hours with maybe about 20 minutes worth of breaks in the meantime. It is taking its toll on us, and I'm sure it's taking its toll on the players as well. We have a comparatively easier job. Crimson looking to get in the way, not to be though. Tom now over the top. Can he get in front of this one? He can. Blocks out Theorist to win. Can he cut it to the side? He can't. And Stam has shown up at an inopportune time. Fortunately, that demo, I think, bailing out Loughborough just enough.
Just barely enough, but they're going to need to be careful here as UWE are approaching their first attack of the game. And I say approaching as 2 players did dive on it out at midfield, but still couldn't get past this midfield presence out of the Lions. They will finally do exactly that as Incog puts one into the back of the net, or excuse me, back of the backboard, almost into the back of the net. Stam with a very, very close call, and my oh my, this is a little bit concerning to see how close these are getting with these just on-the-line saves. Again, it feels like just minor mistakes are what is separating these two teams right now.
I think that is exactly how it should be. It feels like a very high-level game, as it should. It is literally the grand final, going to a bracket reset of one of the top domestic competitions this year. Crimson looking to try and get a shot in early. Stam going to pick this one up, though, coming off the ceiling, looking for a ceiling shot. Going to use his flip late, trying to fake out Incognito, but Crimson was already there, and it wasn't an awful lot of use. Tom now playing the ball to the side. Stam getting it even further, buying his blue side a little space. Boomix and 30 now. Crimson looking for a shot, but that is lackluster, it has to be said. The bottom right where Incog was racing, really want to be getting some height on that.
You just need to be taking high caliber shots at this point. Unfortunately, like we said, both these teams have got each other pretty red, considering the fact they've played a, oh my word, total of 11 games against each other. You need something special if you're going to make it into the back of the net, and this by far is special enough.
Damn right. Crimson able to flick that from the far post to the near post. Nobody really getting a solid read on that, because I think they had to pre-jump it. They had to expect the shot first time around. Unfortunately, both of them went for it. Loughborough, they have looked commanding with a lead before, but they need to... Wait, hang on. This is another opportunity to open that. It's not going to drop straight in. Crimson looking for the follow-up. Fielded away by Incog, and these defensive prowess on both these sides is what is keeping these games so low scoring and so close. Crimson now, the one on the back line to get the ball away. Sebadam going to play it back in, but I don't think there's anyone there on this occasion. Loughborough, with 2.5 minutes, going to get this ball back across the halfway line.
Well, but only for a moment, though. Here comes Seb and the rest of UWE as they are trying their best to just get this equalizer here. Again, we have to mention this. This is going to be the second series between these two teams. The Lions have already completed the bracket reset. At this point, they just need to win this series, and they will take the entire tournament. For UWE, this is the second series in a row where they've had that opportunity to take the entire tournament if they end up taking a win. They got to Game 7 last time, but couldn't quite get it done. This time, we're here in Game number 5, and this one is very important. If they win this, they are on match point, which means they have the opportunity to finish this one out altogether, and they will find the equalizer. I'm a tad confused. Not only did I not think this was a shot, I thought at least someone would be there for it.
Yeah, I think Tom with there, but I swore I saw both the blue players on the side, maybe anticipating that Stam would get that touch out, but I think it was a little risky. Crimson just sort of facing the wrong way on our own box there, and Loughborough are going to have to come back once again, and we've seen both sides have struggled to score so far. Admittedly, it is 2-2 in this series. Someone will eventually take this game, but another long overtime is going to really put these players under some pressure, both mentally and I'm sure physically, as we approach the late hours of the night here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be pretty fatiguing. Oh my word, to play this long, but maybe some explosions and physicality can wake you right on up. Crimson going to find another goal here as Tom demos the last defender.
Yeah, can always rely on Tom to get a good demo when he feels like going for them, and that was the perfect timing for it. Both the players on UWE that were up front went careering past the ball, and so in that 2v1, Tom knew what he had to do. He had to get in front of Crimson, he had to finish the job off. Tom dropping this ball into the box once again. I think he was trying to get it to Stamina, but Stamina had other ideas, and so that ball not going in. Fortunately for Loughborough, they have the lead. They can afford at least to make one crucial, fatal mistake before they concede the lead. This ball, though, tripping into the middle of the box. Crimson playing the ball the right way out of the box. Damn. Also going up with Tom. A lot of pressure now, I think, on the UWE side. Incog trying to be a nuisance, and he does just enough. Crimson almost getting to that office ceiling, but Sebadam finishing the job off here with a minute to go.
I like that out of Incog. He just kind of adjusted, recognized that Crimson was in an awkward position, and if he can just chase long enough, she will not be able to make the save. She almost does recover. I'll give credit to Crimson where credit is due. She was very close to it, but close is not enough. Unfortunately here, it's a matter of mere centimeters separating the two teams, and with 55 seconds left, the question is whether or not one of these two teams are going to find that separating factor before the end of regulation. If we go to another overtime, I will literally not be shocked in any way, shape, or form, but I will say, these poor players, they really are making this as extended of a series as physically possible.
Well, Incog's actually going to miss that ball. I thought we were going to get an offensive play out of UWE here. Theorist also missing Incog. I think he's low on boost at this point. He's actually going to get a long clear. That's over most for Loughborough defense. For getting impatient, that one, fortunately for them, is wide. Sebadam going to force it back in. Theorist is going with the redirect on target, but Stam going to cut that one off on the goal line.
How do you even make that save? The saves here today have been phenomenal. Oh boy, but that one wasn't so phenomenal. Tom puts this one off target, but Seb gives him just the littlest touch, and unfortunately, I think Seb might have also just given away the game to the Loughborough Lions.
Yeah, it's hard to say whether that one was bouncing out or not. I think he had to go for it, and it's unfortunate that he got a touch at such an inopportune time. Loughborough, if they can hold for the next 15 seconds or so, they will be taking match points for the second time tonight. And one can only hope, if you're a Loughborough fan, that it's going to remain, in their favour. This is their second game on the bounce. A third would be nice, and Incog, he can't keep that ball to the ground, so it is going to be Loughborough 3, UWE 2.
And now here it comes, the first opportunity for the Lions to take this tournament. This would be their 4th title, and what a title would be to take this from the lower bracket in bracket reset fashion, taking 3 best-of-7s in a row. And here's the crazier part. They could also do that and also do it in 3 game 7s in a row. If UWE ends up taking this one, if the C-Stacks force a Game 7, we will have played the maximum amount of games possible on stream today. Listen, if that doesn't show you how close the competition here is with these top 3 teams, I don't know what does. This has been a battle and a half. This is a legendary matchup at this point, Sigmoid.
Absolutely. I think this one is going to go down in the memories of probably players on both sides, their societies, and maybe the scene overall. It's been such a close night of action. Got to remember, of course, there are tons of other teams in Europe who are keeping this level up as well. Not just in the UK, of course, plenty of countries like Germany and the Netherlands putting up teams of similar quality. This is just a sample of what you have to offer over the course of the next year. Sebadam looking to show what the UK is made of here. Getting dribble over top, he's still on it. Crimson forcing it to the top of her goal, but it's going to bounce off the top and finally go in for Sebadam. UWE, they weren't struggling to get the goals last time, we were struggling to get the lead, and now they've got one.
Oh my word, Seb, that's quite the statement, my friend. He started off the game saying, yeah, I'm done messing around at this point. 30 seconds in, and that is quite the prowess being shown from Seb and the rest of UWE. That being said, though, it's only a 1-goal lead. That is not enough to secure them the game here. They're going to hunt for another one, give them a little bit of a safety net, and I think they will not find it. Tom with a save on the line, despite a plethora of solid touches going towards the net. And my oh my, UWE definitely look aggressive in this game, but it does not seem like the Lions are going to back down for even a moment.
Yeah, they're looking far more alive than they have in the last 2 games. They're arguably looking like the dominant side. It's been hard to separate them for the last 3 games or so. Tom, though, going to get this ball away, maybe looking for follow-up, and I think he's struggling for boost. Crimson now going to get the true clear, I think. Theorist only able to get this to the side. Tom now off the side, off the back, dropping down, but Theorist to win. Going to tuck that past Sam. Tom, though, going this ball over to Crimson. She can't beat out Sebadam, but Tom can tuck it behind him. He's got a second touch as well, off the wall. Is he going to leave for Crimson? No, he's going to take one more touch, but leaving it to Crimson. It's off the backboard, though. Is Stam there? He is, but he can't force it through a player. He can force it down, though, and it's still in this orange half for a while longer.
Just for a little bit while longer here, as Crimson will try to touch this one to the center. Tom almost able to get the shot in, but not quite. And this is now starting to look a little bit shaky on the defense for UWE here. We had mentioned this before. Their offense by far the stronger part of the team. Although they have had a really solid defense, not to say that the defense has been poor, but it's when they're doing this, where they lock their opponents into their half and just keep this offensive pressure up, that they do the best. That being said, Incog with a very late challenge out at midfield is not going to allow more offensive pressure out of UWE, but they are doing one thing very, very right here. We're almost halfway through the game, and they have wasted a plethora of time, still holding on to that 1-goal lead, which is a lead for now, but they would much rather get a second goal in their favor, a little bit of breathing room, and not allow even the possibility for the Lions to get back into this one.
That being said, it's a lot of time to try and lock down this game. They're going to want a goal. They might have been afforded the opportunity there as Crimson back, but Sebadam, though, missing, and the follow-up from, I think it was Theorist to Wind, not quite where he wants to be. Tom on the counter-attack, getting that ball past Sebadam, and like I said, you can't hold for 2.5 minutes. They couldn't hold for 20 seconds in this case, and so Loughborough looking to take this here and now.
Yeah, it's a little bit too reckless out at midfield there. A couple of misplays, and all of a sudden, the Lions are going to be back into this one. Again, UWE have such a good strategy because when it works great. But when it doesn't work, it is unfortunately rather difficult to pull off. Oh, my word. Speaking of difficult to pull off, Seb trying to read that bounce off the ceiling almost perfectly and gets very close to doing so, but just barely off the bar and out. A huge opportunity for the CSACs to take a lead here, but instead, here come the Lions on the other end. No one will approach the follow-up touch after Tom did not get the greatest one, but Seb will approach this one out at midfield here. Good pressure being shown from UWE, but only momentarily. No one wants to follow it up after Seb has the initial touch, except for then Seb and Incog both do, but they actually somehow turn it into an offense. Chaos reigns supreme here with only about 2 minutes remaining, and I'll be honest, I'm both surprised that wasn't a UWE goal, and I'm also surprised that wasn't a Lions counterattack that turned into a goal.
Well, we'll see if they can actually turn a troop counterattack into a goal here. The ball played out into Loughborough, ball that left open for Stamps to try and play it over the top. He was cut off though, and so we're going to keep this ball in the midfield for a while. Incog now plucking to play it down the wing. Very little Tom though, so Theory to win is going to have to pick that one up in the midfield. It's not the strongest of touches though. He's not able to play the ball that far. Crimson not answering particularly strongly either. Tom now playing this out the middle. Sam is there. He tries to beat out Sebadam. Gets the bump from Theory to win though. Tom able to get that clear, and it was that bump from Sam that brought his teammate just enough time. Tom now off the ceiling, going to beat out Sebadam on the 50. Who's up? It's Crimson. He's looking to tuck it down, but it's going to be forced to the side by Incog. Sam now over top again. Serious to win to the side. Crimson off the wall. It's a miss. Being Serious to win. Perhaps has an opportunity, but he's gone beyond the ball. Needed to pick up that boost pad. It was a higher priority than the ball in that case.
My word, this is a tense end to this game. Back and forth we go, and with only about 30 seconds left, it's looking like we're in golden goal scenario. The next team to score might just end up taking this entire series, as again, for the Lions right now, they are up by 1 game. They win this one. They win this entire championship. For UWE, this is about just staying alive, and uh-oh, can they even do so? No, they cannot! Tom with what could be the final goal of this entire event. 14 seconds left, and unless UWE can find a miracle, that might just be the end.
And to think that stop was so solid as well. The ball careering straight through the box to the far corner. He flips at the right time, catches it with the corner of his car, which is moving downwards, able to keep it low, and it ends up catching Sebadam off guard. The angle change was absolutely huge, and the ball is in the orange half once again. Once that clock hits 0, UWE have to keep that ball off the ground, and they can't. Incog can't get to it, and Loughborough, for the 4th time, and the only team in the modern record of Newell Rocket League events, have taken the Newell Championship.
Oh my, it took them 20 games, but 20 was the lucky number. They finish it off in 20, and they do it in spectacular fashion. One last goal just before the end of regulation, and the Loughborough Lions will take this entire tournament. Congratulations to them on being the Newell Summer Champions. This is a monumentous occasion for these guys. They lost to this team previously, but they only did that one time, and then after that, they took 3 series in a row. My, oh my, I've got nothing to say but GG's well played to the team. Incredibly well done. Congratulations to the Lions.
Absolutely, and of course, commiserations to UWE. They fought so hard. They came so close in that first series. We thought they had Loughborough down when they were 3-2 up, but in the end, like you said, Loughborough taking it all. We'll be back, hopefully, in the winter with more Rocket League action. But until then, I've been Sig. I've been joined by Bass. Good evening.
We just traded for a suit coat and a tie. And underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes, the fire grows. You are ready for a different kind of life. You're shining forward, the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. You're shining forward, the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. Follow me down, there's no one around. Lay back and take your socks and shoes right off. That natural light is so damn polite, can make you feel just like you were young again. Standing underneath the rows of trees, I can see where the ocean meets the sky. Under our clothes, a fire grows. We are ready for this life of running wild. We're running wild. Underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes,